Hey YouTube, welcome back to the YouTube journey. Usually I'd be all energetic and excited, but a couple hours ago I found out that Stan Lee passed, and I spent about a good hour and a half crying. I always kind of figured that, he was older. He died at 95, and I always figured that it wasn't long before he was going to pass, just because he was so old and he was having health problems and things like that. And I know he stopped going to Comic-Con and things like that. And I was excited because I was really hoping that one of the years I got to go to Comic-Con, I'd be able to see him. And I missed out. But I mean, that's not the point of this. It's just I wanted to share my story because I don't think I really realized how much of an impact that Stan Lee and Marvel Comics have had on my life until until the realization that he was gone hit me, and I just was completely emotionally damaged by it. I've been reading comic books since before I could even read. I would just go through old Spider-Man comics and stuff, that whatever was lying around the house, whatever I had, whatever my dad had owned from when he was a kid, whatever it was. And I would just go through them and look at all the pictures, and I was so inspired and excited by all the heroes and things in the comics, like Spider-Man or the X-Men and things like that. And it was just so important to me and such like a inspiration. It made me want to draw as a kid. And I had a lot of problems with my eyes, so I had a lot of difficulty drawing, but it made me want to, even though I hated doing it because it was just not working. And I had a lot of physical and mental problems as a kid, and I still do, but to a much greater degree as a child, and it was hard for me. And in school, not a lot of kids wanted to be friends with the weird kid. Not a lot of kids wanted to talk to the weird kid. So instead of internalizing that and just being bitter all the time about how sad I was as a kid for just being so lonely, and hated by so many kids because I was different, I used my love for comic books and my love for superheroes and for things like Spider-Man or the X-Men or Daredevil to really, really hone in and almost empathize with those characters and how similar their situations were to mine, where Spider-Man is just this nerdy kid who nobody really likes, and he doesn't really have any friends, but he goes out every day after he's done with school, and he just goes and helps people, and that was so awe-inspiring to me. Or the X-Men, where they're mutants. They're ridiculed by society in those comic books for just being born differently, and it was just so inspirational to me at a time where I felt like I didn't fit in anywhere, and where I had nobody to go to and no one that understood me, where I could sit down and I could read a comic book about these people who nobody understands, and they're weird, and normal people don't think they're okay, and normal people don't want to be their friend, and normal people don't want anything to do with them, but they accept that, and they still fight crime and save those people and do good things with their lives. Amazing things with their lives. Sure, these are fictional characters, they're not real people, but it all means so much to me, and it meant so much to me as a kid. And honestly, getting me through that is really what helped build me into the person I am now. Because if I couldn't do that, then I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be the person I am now. I wouldn't want to do YouTube as a job. I mean, I'm not there yet, but I want to. Because I wouldn't have had so much of a foundation for wanting to be creative. And I wouldn't have put so much of my passion into it as a kid, because I could have just been bitter all the time and just been a grumpy kid who didn't really have any friends. But I didn't have that many friends, but I spent so much of my time drawing and creating and writing stories and making comic books myself as a kid, and it's turned me into who I am now. And a guy who made those stories, who spent his life making stories to inspire people, is gone now. And that is really scary to me. One of the biggest things is that I wanted to do something creative with my life. I wanted to make comic books. I wanted to be a game designer. I wanted to be a lot of things. Something creative. I'm just a creative person, so it was something I needed. And I got ridiculed and made fun of for wanting to do that with my life. Every person I told that I wanted to do that for college, it never ended well. And eventually I got ridiculed so much I gave up on it for a really long time. And I didn't even start my YouTube channel until only a year ago, because I've just been ridiculed on how to, oh, YouTube can't be a job. Oh, you can't make a job drawing. You can't do a job this. And I mean, that's me in 2018, where things are a little more accepted now than they were years ago. But I can't imagine how it was for Stan Lee. Over 50 years ago, he was making comic books for a living. I mean, what did his parents think? What did his family think? What did his friends think? What did his, oh, you're gonna spend your life writing stories and you're gonna make money off of that? And before he started being really successful, I mean, if he could do that 50 years ago and be that as successful as he was, then I can do this. Then I can do something with my YouTube channel. And I haven't been uploading a lot. I've been streaming, but I haven't been uploading a lot. And I think that maybe this is the wake-up call that I needed. Because Stan Lee was an icon to me and an inspiration. And his characters inspired me as a kid. And now, I think he himself is going to be inspiring me as an adult. Well, thank you guys. I just needed to get this out, and I felt like turning on my camera and recording something, and I just wanted to pour my heart out to you guys. So maybe you have similar situations where you feel similarly about this whole situation. I know when I found out, and I saw somebody posted on Twitter, just like they wrote like Stan Lee or something with like ... after it, and in my head I'm like, oh, that's weird, and I was like, in my head, like, the first thing I thought of was like, oh my god, did he die? And I pushed it back. I was like, nope, definitely not. Like, that couldn't have happened. It wouldn't have happened. But it did. It did happen. And I just... seeing him in all the Marvel movies, and he was so passionate about everything he made years ago. These are characters that will be enjoyed and loved forever. He made some... Spider-Man is what? 60... He made Spider-Man 60 years ago? Something like that. Like... These characters will be loved and cherished forever. And if I could make something that could be cherished for even a fraction of the amount of time that his stuff is, then I'll have done something right with my life. Then I'll have more than succeeded in doing everything that I ever dreamed of. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Starner. You can call me Chris. You guys could subscribe or like the video, whatever you want to do. I don't usually ask for that kind of thing. But, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the stream later tonight.